Pompous, bad-tempered old tyrant.
Hello. I don't know if you guys are aware, but you're currently in violation of your own policy right now. Every kid in the City of Elyria School District is required to wear a mask, whether it's age appropriate, whether it actually works or not is not what I'm here to argue. For my children to attend school last year, I made the decision to pull them out and put them into Connections Academy. And it was based solely on the situation of the world that we were in at the time. I live with my two elderly parents, so it was just felt like it was the correct thing to do. It was probably one of the worst educational decisions I made for my kids. I realize online schooling isn't the same as in-person schooling. But kids shouldn't have to wear masks. This is crazy. I shouldn't have to be here today making these arguments. It's a very simple thing. All of us here understand the idea of personal autonomy and biological choice. And a child shouldn't have to fill out an exemption form to be able to walk into a school building. If there's parents who are concerned, there should be some process for them to note that they would like their kids to wear masks. But my young daughters shouldn't have to go into the school that I went into every day as a kid, whether there was the cold going around, the flu going around, which are much more dangerous to children, and have to wear a mask for something that's largely driven by the media and fear in society. We all have our own personal choices and our own personal decisions for what we believe right now. But I'm not going to sit here 6 months from now and argue that my child shouldn't get a third round of booster shots. I'm not going to sit here in 4 months and argue that whatever mandatory vaccinations the federal government tries to push out is okay, because that's not the place for this. This is a place where we are designed to educate our children. I went to school through Elyria my entire life. We shouldn't subject kids to the whims and propagandas of what we see on television. We're here to educate them. Wearing masks greatly increases the risk of children to develop childhood asthma, to develop bacterial pneumonia, chronic bronchitis. It reduces their emotional intelligence, because when they're communicating with their classmates and teachers, they cannot see the face of the person they're talking to. And my daughters don't wear masks, and I feel like that they get thrown into this, I don't know, chaos that all the rest of us are trying to deal with in a way that's not appropriate. We shouldn't be reducing our children's emotional intelligence or ability to sustain their body through breathing just because we as parents may or may not be afraid of something. Because I'm far more scared of what will happen if we can just impose arbitrary limitations on our children's biological processes, because it's something I won't do. This may turn into a bigger battle. My daughters are fully vaccinated with everything that's required by the school, and that's a whole different conversation. My oldest one may have actually suffered side effects, but it was something me and their mother chose to do at the time when they were born and the years after, before they even started attending school. All of these medical choices that we're facing and will come down in the future on us are something that we all have to make individually and personally. And I don't feel like it is appropriate to have a school making a decision about whether or not the teacher standing in the front of the classroom can have her lips seen as she reads a book to my child. There's very simple levels of things that our kids are losing out on right now. Interpersonal social skills, the ability to read someone's face, to recognize emotional expression. And I don't want this to turn into a bigger battle. I'm not going to give you the background of who I am or what I do or how I organize or what I've done. But I just hope that we can find common ground here. I don't care about your political beliefs, and I hope you don't care about mine, because having a child with the ability to breathe, the ability to read people's lips, see emotional expressions far outweighs anything else that matters right now. So I just want to make sure that that's perfectly clear.
Savior of the resistance, you've given me yourself without incident.
Clerk, lights out. Maybe more than a dozen inside.
The doors down, blow the bulbs.
Yes, sir.
Hey guys, this is Tommy with Tommy Nation Politics. How's everyone doing today?
We begin with breaking news. Nearly 2,000 workers at Kaiser facilities across the state say they will go out on strike to fight for a better contract. Nearly 2,000 workers say they'll walk off the job right before Thanksgiving. Christy Tomashiro with the latest details.
After months of negotiations between Kaiser and Local 5, a decision has been made. Nearly 2,000 healthcare workers at Kaiser will go on strike.
We're giving our all, and we're getting in return minimal, very minimal.
Local 5 says the strike will begin on November 22nd. The union represents medical assistants, licensed practical nurses, lab assistants, hospital aides, housekeepers, and others.
We have been bargaining over the last year, and they have not been moving with anything other than proposing us this very insulting offers for our workers, and that's why we're doing this.
Local 5 says Kaiser offered a 1% pay raise and a two-tier wage system that would cut wages for future hires by 1/3. Negotiations then moved up to 2% with a two-tier wage system.
You should get paid equal, not have newcomers come on board and be paid less than what you're getting. But yet they've gone through the same training that you have gone through. They've gone through the same things, but then their value is already less when they come into the company.
Kaiser said they offered an updated proposal that provides union-represented employees a 4% per year increase in pay, with no takeaways to benefits and retirement programs. At the end of October, 93% of Local 5 Kaiser healthcare workers who voted authorized a strike.
And if we can get all of our workers to see this, we can pull together and we can finally move, because we are the frontline workers. We are the heroes. We are the ones that did the labor. We should get what we deserve, not what you think we deserve.
By law, a union must give a 10-day notice of a strike to a healthcare employer. Kaiser says if a strike actually occurs, its facilities will be staffed by trained and experienced managers and contingency staff as needed. Physicians will also continue to be available to care for patients.
We're out here today supporting the women that work at the Lennox and Addington Shelter and Outreach Program here in Napanee. These are women that have dedicated really their careers to helping women and children who are suffering from violence. And of course, we know that the pandemic has made that far worse. And so their jobs are so important in the community.
It's not about money, it's about respect for the workers in here and union representation. And when I say that, the grievance procedure, I call this Union 101. This is in every contract. It's nothing. We're not trying to invent the wheel here, right?
But they've gone to work every day throughout a pandemic. They've worked with their clients. They've taken care of their clients, and they're just asking for a little bit of respect. They wouldn't be here. Believe me, they did not make this decision lightly.
So Peter, do you think the White House recognizes the problem that we have? Because I don't know if they've been slow to it or not, but obviously the supply chain is a critical issue, but people just not going back to work. I mean, it's like we have more job openings than we ever have in the history of this country. Well, for every person unemployed, the ratio to an unemployed worker with a job is better than it's ever been. Wherever we go, we talk to small business owners, we talk to restaurant owners, they say the same thing. Hey, I'm trying to pay 17-year-olds like $18 an hour and give them health care. I can't get them in here. Gas stations, when driving around this summer, we're paying $20 an hour for you to work inside a convenience store. You go inside, no takers. Does the White House? What's the White House plan to getting people back to work?
Yeah, I think they do recognize that this is a problem, obviously. Nobody wants to talk about it. Christmas without presents, that's never good for a president or any other politician. But I think you're interesting here. We have two sort of theories of the case, right? This is sort of the lingering effects of a pandemic that is at some point going to, basically shake itself out. Or we're in a transformational moment when we're basically rethinking, society and the income disparity and the wage, depression that we've seen now for a generation and is that going to finally, reorder in effect in this moment? The other question, by the way, we haven't heard, and I'd be interested in hearing experts talk about it because I don't know the answer, is how much immigration is a factor on this, right? I mean, one reason the chambers of commerce across the country have actually favored immigration is to get people to do a lot of jobs that Americans born here might not be as willing to do for wages that they might not be willing to work for.
You go to the bargaining table and your employer reneges on previously agreed to language. When you're looking for a safe workplace, when you're looking for things that simply every other shelter within 100 miles of here has, they just want a fair collective agreement.
So, I mean, the local, we're going to be here as long as we have to. We've actually, there's only about 18 workers here. So the local, we've brought some of our folks from the Ottawa area and some from Toronto, and they'll be up here the full time helping out with the women here until we get this resolved.
These are women that are looking for things, basic things like health and safety issues on the job. They're looking for fair scheduling. They're looking for the employer to actually replace vacancies so that they're not struggling to staff the operation here.
Has the focus on immigration in the last few years changed that dynamic in the labor market? I'm not sure the answer there, but you're right. I think President Biden is aware of his team is certainly aware of the risks here politically as well as economically. They do have an economy, as Mike Barnacle put it, that is overall, in a lot of ways, looks pretty good.
So that they know that the clients that they serve, the women and the children, are getting really good care and really good services that they need.
Oh, the support's great. I mean, you hear it. I feel sorry for the neighbors out here from 9 in the morning till 5 at night. This is a busy street. Everyone's honking their horns. I mean, I've been on the phone and people go, "What's all the honking?" I say, "That's people supporting us."
Almost everybody is honking and waving. We've had cookies dropped off and muffins and donuts and coffee. I think the community really, really supports the workers here and supports the work that they do, the important frontline work that they do.
But if people feel in a very tangible way, as you put it, that they can walk into stores without being helped, that they can walk into stores without getting the Christmas presents they need, that's a very tactile kind of problem for an administration that's trying to get this country back in shape.
Well, and also, Sam Stein, that they can go into a car shop and get a broken car that they desperately need to make their commute to go to work every morning, whether they can get that fixed, whether they can get plumbing fixed inside their house, or if there's a problem, with their electricity. You go down the list of things. I'm just not sure exactly when people became, people just said, "Oh, I'm not going to work. I'm just not going to work." I mean, when did work? Because I've read all the stories in the New York Times. Oh, people are rethinking their relationship with work. Well, awesome. But at what point in the development of mankind did workers become philosopher kings and they just will sitting there thinking and rubbing their chins pay the rent?
Why should father be more real than any other political puppet? The real father died years ago. The council simply elected me to pursue its paternal tradition. And you, Preston, the supposed savior of the resistance, are now its destroyer. And along with them, you've given me yourself. Come. Coolly. Entirely without incident.
Oh. Shit. Not without incident.
We've been presenting a series of reports on our lost workers. You're here for the finale. The labor shortage isn't going anywhere, and according to a new report, it may get worse in the months and years to come, even after the pandemic ends. CNBC's Kate Rogers reporting. Kate, you took a deep dive through the data in this. What are some of the big takeaways?
Well, Shep, the report isn't pretty, and there are several factors set to worsen this crisis, according to these researchers. Baby boomer retirements, an extra 1 million boomers are projected to have been pushed into early retirement during COVID, and the report suggests there aren't enough millennials and Gen X workers ready to fill boomer shoes in the workplace. Boomers were born into families with an average of 4 children, but themselves had an average of 1.8 kids. The younger generations also have different preferences for the type of work and careers that they're looking for. And while many millennials are worse off than their parents and facing financial headwinds, the report also points to the massive amount of cash that some millennials stand to inherit from their parents, $68 trillion by the year 2030, which will give them more financial freedom to make decisions about the kind of work that they do and don't want to do. We have talked a lot about the women who left the workforce over the last year, but prime-age working men, ages 25 to 54, they've also been exiting the workforce for decades, the data show, going from 38% of the workforce in the 1980s to 34% in 2019. The opioid epidemic has also hit this cohort particularly hard, removing them from the workforce. Others are living with their parents in higher numbers and tend to prefer part-time work. Shep, the report even notes video games as one issue, claiming that some men just are flat out not working in Gen Z as part-time work is increased. And finally, the future workforce will be smaller due to falling birth rates, which saw the steepest decline in nearly 50 years last year. The researchers say the talent shortage will only compound due to this reality moving ahead, Shep.
Listen to you with all the good news. Kate Rogers.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.
Hey guys, this is Tommy with Tommy Nation Politics. How's everyone doing today? Tommy Nation Politics.
For Americans, according to a new survey, have experienced some kinds of income as a result of higher prices. The president has expressed concern about this. I know that you are working on different fronts to address this, but I mean, how urgent is it, and how, is there any sort of specific concern that this is going to affect not just political outcomes, but just the overall economy?
Sure. Well, Andrea, first let me say that, a lot of the talk about inflation, I'm not saying from you, but in general out there, has been, it's become a political cudgel, and it shouldn't be. It's impacting, as you said, millions of Americans, no matter their political party, and that's certainly of concern to the president. I would note that everyone from the Federal Reserve to Wall Street agree with our assessment that inflation is already expected to be substantially decelerate next year. I know you're not talking about that, but that's an important component here. And economists across the board also agree that the president's economic agenda, the bipartisan infrastructure bill that he will sign on Monday, and the Build Back Better bill that we are working to move forward will not add to inflationary pressure and will ease inflationary pressure over the long term. But when we move past the economic jargon, which I realize is what you're asking me, and talk about the real impacts on people's lives, we're really talking about cost to people, right? And you talked about this on Wednesday. So it's cost of childcare, cost of housing, cost of gas, cost of household goods. That's how people are experiencing this on a day-to-day basis. And that is, of course, of concern to the president. Our view is that the real risk here is inaction. And the reason I wanted to do this slide today, I love slides and graphics on my first day back, because we had to have one, but is because if we don't act on Build Back Better, what we're doing is we won't be able to cut childcare costs in 2020. We know that is a huge impact on people's daily lives and American families. We won't be able to make preschool free for many families starting in 2022, saving many families $8,600. We won't be able to get ahead of skyrocketing housing costs. I mean, that's a part of this bill too. Has a major investment in building new housing, affordable housing units, so that people can move into them and live in them and address the pending housing housing crisis. And we won't be able to save Americans thousands of dollars by negotiating prescription drug prices. So our view is this makes a strong case. This is a strong case for moving forward with this agenda, because what we're really talking about is cost to Americans, how it's impacting them, and that's something that if we don't act now, we won't be able to address these things in the short term either. Go ahead.
Someone you can rely, who's always on your side.
Nobody's on your side. Not one goddamn person, guys. Except for Tommy with Tommy Nation Politics. Hey guys, it's Tommy with Tommy Nation Politics. How's everyone doing today? Good? I hope so. Tommy Nation Tuesday. And every 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, we, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, we try to establish justice the best way we know how. We're going to be going over a lot of different things, working for the common good. We've got a lot of guests. We've got Andrew Z. Smith from Action for Assange. Hopefully we'll have his comrade Misty on as well. She's got a hair date. Don't get between a girl and her hair date like this. She's got great hair. I wish I had some. But my cohort, Stephanie Smith from Progressives Against Neoliberalism Facebook group, will be here with me. We're going to go over the Infrastructure and Jobs Act and the signing ceremony that was yesterday. Bipartisan bill passing the House of Representatives and finalized with the Senate, now signed into law by President Joseph Elizabeth Biden. Looks like Sean Hannity was wrong. It's not the Democratic Party, not led by the Squad or socialism. I don't know. Maybe you're going to keep still saying that. Who knows? But we do have some other developments going on, guys, as well, with the economic theory and fascist tendencies that coincide with a totalitarian government. You know, the Democratic Party holding the presidency, the Senate, and the House of Representatives in majority. But not for long. Here was Joe Biden the other day as Joseph was signing into law the Infrastructure and Jobs Act beckoned, mouth-watering by the corporations. Here was his wife Jill Biden waving hello and bonsoir to the American people as she goes on yet another campaign to infringe the rights of younglings.
You were just back home for a week. Do your vote this bill, this big, massive bill right now?
I think my voters in West Virginia, but I don't speak for the whole country. My voters are a lot differently, but they're very much concerned. Inflation has hit them extremely hard. They have to drive. Their mileage for driving to work is quite onerous on them. And the cost, they see it every day. Every day they go up and fill up, it's $1.25 more a gallon. So they're in $3.29, $3.39. Gallon of milk is now around $4 in many places, and it's making a toll. And I hear it when I go to the grocery store or if I go to the station. They say, "Are you as mad as I am?" And I says, "Absolutely."
An crisis. An existential motherfucking crisis, guys. Existential threat. Let's talk about an existential threat real quick. Let's talk about an existential threat. Nancy, you know about one of them existential threats, right?
Gender equality, yeah. Maybe I don't. Let's see.
Like the best part, guys. This is the best part.
The Empire File.
Gotta go all the way back.
Wait a minute. Wait, I want a woman. I want a woman.
Identity politics, guys.
Gender equality.
Gender equality, guys.
Maybe I don't. Let's.
Abby Martin with the Empire Files.
Uh-oh.
Speaker Pelosi, you just presided over
She's
a
not
large increase in the
bought by
Pentagon
my
budget.
fucking
This Pentagon budget is
donors.
already massive. The Pentagon is a larger polluter than 140 countries combined. How can we seriously talk about net zero if there is this partisan consensus to constantly expand this large contributor to climate change, which is exempt from these conferences?
Someone just
military exempt
Can
from
someone
climate
just
talks.
pull her off? I meant a woman, but I didn't mean that woman.
I just
Any
wanna
woman
use
but
an
Abby
example,
Martin.
if I can. You know, the sea level rise is an important part of what's happening.
Why don't
to
you
the
Why don't you
climate.
let
And
Nancy
I am not
answer
a
the
defense
question?
person, but I've had
Why don't
so
you
many
let
talks
Nancy
with
answer the
Defense
question?
Department
You gonna
and
let
Navy in
Nancy answer
particular
it?
about how they have to respond to what's going on. So
That's
I really
weird.
do think that there is no reason why what we're putting together, would build back better and other things.
Oh dear, save the queen! Someone's head will roll for this. Off with her! But consider, my dear, couldn't she have a trial? First... Trial? Well, just a little trial.
Very well, then.
Let the trial begin!
It is a jobs issue. Good, clean technologies being the future of our workforce and the training for all of that. It is a national security issue because of the all of the conditions that climate crisis produces. I won't go into all of them, but they are cause for migration, conflict over habitat and resources.
She won't go into any of them because she doesn't really give a shit or
globally.
know.
And then the fourth, of course,
Or
the moral issue that we need
let this
to
bitch
pass on
Abby
this
Martin
planet to
ask a
future
question?
generations in
Now
a
I gotta
responsible
fucking
way.
talk.
Now, recognizing what you said, we recognize that as well. And a big user of fuel. There have been many initiatives over time, more successful with more technology.
Oh dear, save the queen!
Other sources of fuel to run the military, because it would make the biggest difference. Transport.
Oh dear, save the queen! Someone's head will roll for this.
And that is something we're very, very focused on. As I say, the Defense Department sees this systemically, that we have to stop it as a national security issue, and one way to do that is to stop our dependence on fossil.
In conclusion, as we gather here tonight, the image of a violent mob assaulting this Capitol, desecrating our democracy, remain vivid in all our minds. Lives were put at risk, many of your lives. Lives were lost. Extraordinary courage was summoned. The insurrection was an existential crisis, a test of whether our democracy could survive, and it did. But the struggle is far from over. The question of whether our democracy will long endure is both ancient and urgent. As old as our republic, still vital today. Can our democracy deliver on its promise that all of us, created equal in the image of God, had a chance to lead lives of dignity, respect, and possibility? Can our democracy deliver to the most pressing needs of our people? America's adversaries, the autocrats of the world, are betting we can't. And I promise you, they're betting we can't. They believe we're too full of anger and division and rage. They look at the images of the mob that assaulted the Capitol as proof that the sun is setting on American democracy. But they're wrong. You know it, I know it.
You know the thing.
We have to prove them wrong. We have to prove democracy still works, that our government still works, and we can deliver for our people. In another era, when our democracy was tested, Franklin Roosevelt reminded us, in America, we do our part. We all do our part. That's all I'm asking, that we do our part, all of us. And if we do that, we will meet the center challenge of the age by proving that democracy is durable and strong. Autocrats will not win the future. We will. America will.
The autocrats of the world are betting that democracy is over, that this is the, what did he say, the sunset of American democracy.
This is the brightest of our days.
We need to prove them wrong.
This
by
is the
showing
dark.
that our form of government, democracy, still works and can deliver for our people, make us not just competitive, but can make us win the fights of our day.
Us win the fights of our
made
day.
this case that we should want that
The darkness
for ourselves
in the
in
night
terms of our welfare as a country
is no
But
more
we should also
powerful
want
than
that
the
so
days
that,
of the stars.
to coin a phrase, government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from this
concordantly,
earth.
you know the thing.
President Biden, from the very beginning, making this public case that the autocrats of the world not only believe, they are committed to the contention that the United States of America cannot deliver real results because of this unwieldy, cacophonous, inefficient democratic system that we've got. They're betting on it. They are committed to our failure. And so we have to show our success. We have to show that they're wrong. We have to prove that we can do it. That we can govern, we can deliver, we can address the challenges of our time. President Biden has returned to this theme again and again in the course of this past year. He often puts it in quite personal terms in terms of which autocrats he's talking about.
Autocrats, yes. Who's he talking about?
I've known Xi Jinping for a long time. I spent hours upon hours with him alone with an interpreter. My interpreter and his. Going into great detail. He's very, very straightforward. Doesn't have a democratic with a small d bone in his body, but he's a smart guy. He's one of the guys like who thinks that autocracy is the wave of the future. Democracy can't function in an ever complex world. I've spent an awful lot of time with Xi Jinping, President of China, more than I'm told than any other world leader has. And he's made it really clear. He doesn't think democracies can compete in the 21st century.
Oh, shit.
What? Just come back from a...
Come back for another one, buddy. Look, Fat.
He thinks the same thing.
He thinks the same thing.
Well, I got news for him. Autocracies will not succeed if we do what we can do as a democracy.
I got news for you, Buster.
Democracies. And if you're not...
I got news for you.
While the rest of the world is hedging their bets, whether to move toward autocracy
I got news for you.
or stay with democracies.
I got news for you, Flipper.
So this is what President Biden is doing right now.
Yeah,
this started at about 7:45 Eastern time
What's he doing,
tonight.
Rachel? Narrate the shit.
Hard to believe that it's a coincidence.
It's a coincidence?
That this afternoon, right before he went into his summit with Xi Jinping.
What? What'd he do?
There he was at a full-blown, crowded, multiple standing ovation, formal signing ceremony
Formal
at the White
signing
House,
ceremony.
Celebrating the fact that he has just...
Celebrating the fact that he just robbed the American people fucking one more time. The 6th robbery of the American people since the fucking CARES Act has... This COVID pandemic has put wings on the goddamn Republicans and Democrats, guys. And they've robbed us so many times. There's inflation up the ass. And now he's going to ask the fucking Treasury to print out $1.2 trillion more dollars that we're going to fucking be raped by the Fed over, guys. Raped. We're going to be raped by the Fed, guys. You better hope to God your lucky fucking charms you get something out of this fucking spending bill, guys, because guess what? You ain't getting shit. I'll tell you who is getting shit, though. All the corporations, they've been fucking clamoring for Biden to sign this shit all fucking week. He kept saying, soon, man. Look, buddy. Look, Fat, you were in Iowa. It's a little strange around here now. I'm the president. I don't know. I got hairy legs. Yeah, he wasn't going to fucking sign it because he had to fucking take some Z's. The only reason he signed it first thing Monday, guys, was because the military-industrial complex, Wall Street, the banks, and the fucking oligarchs, not the autocrats, fucking told Mr. Biden he needs to sign that shit immediately. Immediately. So that's why he did. He said, okay, boss. What's the word on the Build Back Better Act? I don't know. Manchin doesn't even remember what it is. What did I say? I got eye contact from Pramila Jayapal. She said, yeah, you're going to vote for it, right? I said, no, fuck you. This is a wonderful time, guys. I wonder why Xi Jinping and Putin don't think democracies can thrive anymore. Maybe it's because y'all are all underhanded, corrupt cretins, and this isn't really a democracy. This is an oligarchy. And you use democracy in a fucking mocking way, like you use the fucking principles and values of the American people, and you mock us while you fucking try to act like you have our principles and values, but you don't have shit. Guys, all you have is greed. All you have is motherfucking greed and a whole bunch of fucking pens to sign a fucking bipartisan infrastructure bill into law, huh? Oh, hooray. Rachel, what does this do? Is this fucking make him FDR now? fucking talk about that shit, Rachel. Rachel, is he FDR? Is he FDR now?
Signed into law a $1.2 trillion investment in American infrastructure. Now, granted, $1.2 trillion is like a rounding error in terms of what China spends on infrastructure.
She's about to fucking put some small print in this bitch.
What they spend at home and also around the world. The Chinese government building infrastructure projects in countries all over the place to basically buy influence and pay off foreign leaders to be pro-Chinese. They are way ahead of us in terms of infrastructure spending and in terms of building for the future. But hey, at least as of today, we're finally trying. At least as of today, we finally...
Guys, let's listen to that shit one more time, because this is when Rachel Maddow, the fucking Rhodes Scholar. This is when Rachel the fuck Maddow, Rhodes Scholar, smartest little fucking Hufflepuff in the Harvard Commonwealth, lays out for you the fine print in this bitch. Listen to this shit one more time. I want you to listen to it real carefully, though. I'm gonna turn the music off because I want y'all to listen to this. This is what's really happening, guys. This is what's actually happening. We're not really doing infrastructure. We're doing influence, guys. I don't know if y'all remember this or know this, but this is called fucking when you let two political parties usurp the reins of government from the people. This is what happens, guys. Let's see. What's that? Go ahead, Rachel. Go ahead, Bugatti. What? Rachel? I can't hear your shit. Can't hear your shit, Rachel. Fuck.
What they spend at home. So this is what President Biden is doing right now.
Listen to this shit.
7:45 Eastern time
Listen
tonight.
to this shit, guys.
And it's hard to believe that it's a coincidence that this afternoon, right before he went into his summit with Xi Jinping, there he was at a full-blown, crowded, multiple standing ovation, formal signing ceremony at the White House, celebrating the fact that he has just signed into law a $1.2 trillion investment in American infrastructure.
But is it? Rachel?
Now, granted,
but is it, Rachel?
$1.2 trillion is like a rounding error in terms of what China spends on infrastructure. Both what they spend at home and also around the world. The Chinese government building infrastructure projects in countries all over the place to basically buy influence and pay off foreign leaders to be pro-Chinese. They are way ahead of us in terms of infrastructure spending and in terms of building for the future. But hey, at least as of today, we're finally trying. At least as of
a violent mob.
In quite personal terms, in terms of which autocrats he's talking about.
He's one of the guys like Putin who thinks that autocracy is the wave of the future democracy.
A $1.2 trillion investment in American infrastructure. Now, granted, $1.2 trillion is like a rounding error in terms of what China spends on infrastructure. Both what they spend at home and also around the world. The Chinese government building infrastructure projects in countries all over the place to basically buy influence and pay off foreign leaders to be pro-Chinese. Now, $1.2 trillion is like a rounding error in terms of what China spends on infrastructure. Both what they spend at home and also around the world. The Chinese government building infrastructure projects in countries all over the place to basically buy influence and pay off foreign leaders to be pro-Chinese. Now, granted, $1.2 trillion is like a rounding error in terms of what China spent on infrastructure. Both what they spend at home and also around the world. The Chinese government building infrastructure projects in countries all over the place to basically buy influence and pay off foreign leaders to be pro-Chinese. Now, granted, $1.2 trillion is like a rounding error in terms of what China spends on infrastructure. Both what they spend at home and also around the world. The Chinese government building infrastructure projects in countries all over the place to basically buy influence and pay off foreign leaders to be pro-Chinese. They are way ahead of us in terms of infrastructure spending and in terms of building for the future. But hey.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you for that little kernel of fucking insider truth. This isn't about infrastructure. It's not about you. It's not about you. It's about the Democratic Party. It's about sending a message. Everything burns. Everything burns, guys. This is Tommy Nation Politics. We're free-thinking, innovative, totally open-minded, new progressive media. And this is Tommy Nation Tuesday. Politics, Equillibrium. Tuesday, every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, your Tommy Nation Tuesday live stream. Join us. This is your media. This is your voice. This is your news for a new, independent, progressive media. Free thinking, innovative, totally open-minded, Tommy Nation Politics. Please feel free to send us messages at facebook.com/Tommy Nation Politics, or go subscribe to our website and make sure you hit the alerts for videos, notifications at www.TommyNationPolitics.com. This is your new, independent, progressive media. Tommy Nation Politics, free thinking, innovative, totally open-minded. Tommy Nation Politics.